everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm in my car, and you're listening to the most horse-powerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's the weatherman on the moose, and on our journey today, we're totally getting high on life, man. So jump on into the Xbox Drive. Blah, 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 blah.
No power greater than X.
Hello, Sean Capri.
Ryan Turford. I was trying to do a Rick and Morty thing, but I totally fell into like a Scooby kind of thing, man.
Of course you did.
Ryan Turford?
I'm doing well. You're in the car, of course. I lost connection to Sean Capri as things going on. We lost Sean's video. Hopefully Sean's still there. I mean, Sean's not saying anything. So
When? We did a test.
The best part is, yes, folks at home who are watching the video right now, we did it like a 15-minute test before we started recording, and Sean's video didn't break once during that entire time. Of course, as soon as we start going live, we lose Sean's video. But that's okay.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
The best part about
so what
this...
about for the intro? Did the intro do... We're good there? Okay.
Yeah, we're good there. Which is why, again, the audio listeners won't even hear this section, Sean. This is just for everyone at YouTube, and of course, we lost you again. We lost your video again. So
what is going on here? This is dangerous.
This is kind of dangerous.
This is very dangerous.
Please be okay, Sean. Just
pulling over. My Discord keeps turning off the camera, and now it's switched the camera to a different camera, Ryan.
Yeah, now everyone at home is looking at your fingers, Sean. We're watching your lap at the moment.
Well, why don't you take us through whatever you do at the beginning of this dang show? I'll get this sorted out.
Yeah, so I'm even gonna just do this here. So, folks at home, if you want to support the show, if you like what we do, if you like to see us in a car like this, please help us. Please make sure to send likes and subscribe to the channel over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. Also, if you're listening on audio feeds, don't forget to subscribe to us there, or rate us 5 stars if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, if you want to throw some money our way so we can fix Sean's setup, and over to Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Throw a little tip in the old tip jar, and out comes content like all the free content we're giving away all month in December, so definitely head on over there if you want to hear the post show from the Nintendo Drive or the Amiga Pre-podcast or everything else. Everything else is free for everyone this month. You don't even have to pay, or you just gotta go to patreon.com/carpoolgaming. And then last but not least, we have some winter merch that we are selling as well on our merch store, bit.ly/CPG merch. It's there for a limited time, Sean. We can only get that Bobby roasting a marshmallow for a limited time, so if you want that, you got to go get that right meow. And it looks like now that I've done my whole, preamble, it looks like you're finally back. So let's grab our 8 tracks, pop them in, because it's time for the playlist, Sean. So I want you to tell me, what did you play this week now that we've got you settled again?
Ryan Turford, oh my goodness gracious. First of all, great to be back in the car. I am on my way to go get a beverage. Who knows what other pit stops and errands I've got to run while we do our podcast today, Ryan. The first game that I want to talk to you about is not actually an Xbox game, not even at all. It is technically on PC, but I'm playing it on mobile. Have you heard about this, Ryan? Have you seen this Marvel Snap game? It's a card game.
I've heard of this snapping game. The best part is viewers at home who are watching right now are seeing me trying to furiously snap my fingers. But one fact about Ryan Turford, I can't actually snap my fingers, Sean. So I can
imagine if Thanos, just as the moment was just when he's like, I've got all the Infinity Stones and everything's all set to go. Time to snap. Oh, snap. I don't know how to snap.
Yeah.
What if an Achilles heel for him? That would be terrible, Ryan.
As much as I'm like an evil warlord to a lot of people, like everyone knows I play, evil in video games and stuff like that. So I'm probably the carpool gaming individual that's most likely to become a villain, up there with Lockleth as well.
There's no doubt. Nobody questioned that for a moment, Ryan.
Oh, exactly. And so, I'm definitely the type of person that would fit into this scenario where my whole world dominating plan would get stymied by the fact that I can't snap my fingers, Sean. That's totally
can't snap.
Thing. But anyways, Marvel Snap. Tell me about it.
Ryan Turford, I am forgetting real life responsibilities because of this game. It's dangerous. It actually, I have really avoided it because like I've heard people go on and on about Hearthstone and all these other, phone games, Mario Run, for example. And I've tried them and they've never really landed with me. And I thought maybe just it's a ecosystem I don't really need to be involved in. It's just one more set of games that I won't be able to get around to. But Marvel Snap it has got a ridiculous hold on me right now, dude. I am level. It was funny. I was messaging Seth and Lockleth last night playing it. I'm like, I played for like 20 minutes or something, and I just started playing today, and I'm already like level 60. And Seth was he was encouraging. He's like, that's cute. He's probably at like level 4,000 or something.
Yeah.
And then before I know it, I'm like level 40. I'm unstoppable. By the way, I've got this thing figured out. But one of the moments that really captured my imagination, I tweeted about it earlier today, where it's like the cards are so perfect as far as like the power-ups that are assigned to every character, and then the way that the three kind of spaces that you can play your cards against, like they add so much variety to it. The fact that when Wolverine gets destroyed, he comes back in another place, like that is so, because he regenerates, Ryan, just in case you weren't following along.
That makes sense.
Totally amazing, and I didn't think I needed a card game in my life. We've gone through this as far as how we talk about Neon Light and all these other things, but man, who knew? Marvel Snap, people were not joking around, and I missed it. I judged it. I prejudged, Ryan.
Of course.
This is a card game on my phone. That's two deductions out of two. It's like, I don't want either of those.
Well, it sounds like clearly you like learned from the YouTube short that we put up this week with Court talking about how he didn't give Death Stranding a chance because of preconceived notions. And then when he finally did, he loved the game. So it's definitely sounds very, very much inspired by that. Although I say all that, but I know that during your Game of the Year cramming session, you've been playing a whole bunch of different stuff that you normally wouldn't play. And then it sounds like you've latched onto some of that stuff, like Neon White, for example, or even Marvel Snap.
Neon White is so good.
It's really cool that you're actually enjoying this as well. Also, I have to give a shout out to people in the chat as well, because I know you can't see the chat while you're driving.
I can't see chat. I'm not looking at chat. That's very dangerous.
So first of all, Bowser shouting out, Sean looks like Santa with a backseat full of presents, but then Court Malone comes there and corrects her by saying, those aren't presents behind Sean, they're tires.
They're my tires. Yes, I've recently changed out my winter tires. These are my summer tires in the back. And yes, Ryan, I've been far too lazy to take these out and put them back in the garage. But I also feel like the extra weight is good for the winter driving. It's very icy. Like, it kind of looks sunny outside, but actually what's happening is the sun is bouncing off the ground, off the icy ground. Yeah. And I can't see a thing. So we'll see how this goes.
Of course, I'm so glad our first show back in the car. You can't see anything.
I got snow blindness, Ryan.
Oh my gosh, Sean. What is this show anymore? All right.
There's a car wash right here. I would love one day just to go. It's called Bubbles. I'd love to go to Bubbles and get a nice fancy car wash, but it's probably closed. It's minus 37 degrees outside, Ryan.
Probably. And then even if you got the car wash, it would probably freeze on your windshield. You really wouldn't be able to see anything at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to get out.
Yeah, exactly.
The door would freeze shut.
But Sean, we also have to talk real quick because I saw that you mentioned this as well, and we actually both played this other game together on on the stream this week.
Little indie game.
We played this little game called Halo Infinite, Sean. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes.
And oh my God, Sean, this Saturday night was so fun playing Halo Infinite because we were playing Forge mode this week, and we hadn't really tried Forge mode before. We even got a question about it last week and asking us what our favorite like Forge mode maps and stuff were, or what our experience with it was, and we just didn't have an answer for it because we hadn't played it.
Right.
Well, we've played it now, Sean, and let me tell you what, it was really, really fun,
dude.
Yeah. But so Sean, we got to talk about Diglett first of all, our favorite mode probably.
Yes,
in the world.
This is the map. Diglett mode, Digletts, whatever. It's a Pokemon. It's like a little like whack-a-mole kind of thing. Ryan, we're all sitting there in our little holes. You can't jump really. You can't move around. You're just stuck in there. Your only option is to crouch, and everybody's got sniper rifles. This is genius, and it's all I want to play. Like, what am I supposed to do? I've got Marvel Snap over here. I got Vampire Survivors over there. By the way, shout out to Dave Moore, who helped out with the show last week, who was the original co-host of the show back when it was kind of founded in a car. We're back in a car, even if I'm pointing at a freaking webcam that's mounted on top of my phone, mounted on top of a phone mounted in my car, connected to my laptop, Ryan. Holy crap, Diglett mode on Halo Infinite. I think Halo's back, man. I'm here to declare it is so fun.
Yeah, between that and like the Smash Brothers mode we played, or Deathmatch in Peach's Castle from Mario 64, like
with working like warp pipes and everything.
Yeah, like oh my god, it was so much fun to play Halo again, and it was really like. It was just really refreshing to play the game with all those different maps and modes and stuff like that too. And it was just because it felt just so different from the base game, the same like 5 or 6 maps we played over and over again when we were doing Halo Saturdays. So like, I think this is going to be, I think we might have to do this more often, Sean. I mean, I love that I'm speaking for you because you're the one who organizes all these things. But I feel like
we're doing it again.
We're gonna
definitely,
definitely at some point.
But also, I think one of the key parts about it, because like I started it out and I was the team leader of the party or whatever, and I'm just like kind of randomly going through some stuff. There was a Fall Guys map, by the way, like a hexagon.
Yeah.
Which was great as well. And I was kind of like randomly picking stuff, but shout out to Bublo the Destroyer, who I call Frank. I don't know Bublo's real name, so I call him Frank. And Frank went ahead and discovered and showed us, he kind of took us on a tour. This is what you want to play. And I felt like that was kind of a meta part of Forge in general, that the content is community generated anyway, so why wouldn't it be a community member who kind of like shows us around? Because there is a lot of content, but it was so fun to just be like, you got to check this out, and it landed, and you got to check this one out, and it was amazing, and you got to check this out. It was just like, I hate to say it, but it was banger after banger after banger, dude. It was so good. That's 3 bangers in a row, Mr. Badbit.
Just so many bangers at that point. I mean, you couldn't avoid it.
It was
so
great.
Good. It was that good.
Yeah, it felt good just to be back into Halo and like playing it for a reason that was purely fun. Like there's no battle pass or anything related. We didn't get any XP or anything. We just like played for longer than usual, might I add. Mm-hmm. We just kind of kept going. It was a blast, dude.
Yeah, for sure. And also, question from Bowser in the chat who asks, will there be community Halo over the holidays? Are we gonna find some time? Because I know we're taking a week off next week. That's important to note because I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show. There will be no Xbox Drive next week because we're taking a week off. But we will have our Game of the Year show on the Xbox Drive feed next week. So there will be something for y'all next week on next Monday and Boxing Day. But we'll be taking a break from that. But are we going to be doing any streams over the holiday week, Sean, at all?
Definitely. Well, you know, it's funny. Today's Wednesday. I've been on holidays for the last 3 days, and I'm getting a couple of things done. I mentioned on the Nintendo Drive yesterday, modded my 3DS, modded my Vita. So I'm getting that kind of stuff taken care of. But yeah, streams are definitely happening. And it's a huge thing on my mind for 2023. Like, how do we do this a little bit more? And I think I've starting to get things sorted out here, Ryan Turford.
Absolutely.
But as long as people are there to play with us, that's the key. You know, is we heard it for a little while, like, we'd love to play. And then we're like, okay, Halo's tonight. And people stopped kind of showing up. So if people want to play games, well, there's a place in the Discord. And we'll just keep talking about it. And we'll keep making an awesome place for people to join us and play. I feel like we do it better than anyone, Ryan. We you can join in our voice channel, and as long as you're being okay, then it's a cool place to kind of hang out with us and play games.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, definitely look out for that over the holidays. We will make sure to do at least one of those going forward. In fact, like it just might be a random day. Sean might just show up, but I also see
that's very likely. Yeah, we'll try to make it like predictable because that's kind of the key. But yeah, you can probably expect a few. Maybe I'll fire up a stream here and there, but I'm gonna have a look. But yeah, I think I've got my holiday kind of time sorted out here.
As the kids would say, you're gonna check a look, Sean. You're gonna check.
I'll check a look.
Yeah. But I also saw you pulled into a certain place, so I won't get too deep into what I'm talking about first. So first off, first game I've been playing, of course, River City Girls 2. I talked about it on the show 2 weeks ago. I finished the game. Spoiler alert, it's really awesome. I really enjoyed my time with River City Girls.
More importantly, Ryan, do you need anything to drink?
No, I'm good.
Hi there. Can I get a large coffee with 2 Splenda, please? And also a large Diet Coke. Yep, that's all. Thank you. We're back, Ryan. We're back. Like we never left. Like we never stopped. It's so like anybody can do a podcast in a basement, in a spare bedroom, whatnot. Who does a podcast in a car, and who gets drinks from a McDonald's? I do. That's who.
I mean, I missed this, Sean. I missed this part. So
I miss it.
Shout out to people in the chat as well, Sean, because I need to tell you about this. One, Kevin Ainsworth says the amount of snow that just fell on that car as I switched to you was ridiculous.
That's so true.
Yeah. And then Garrett Bland loves to point out the fact that it looks like a snowy wasteland out there.
Oh my gosh, dude, it is wild out here. I legitimately had to warm up my car for a half an hour so I could do this. And even the snow on the windshield in the back, like it's still there.
Yeah.
It's not defrosting. It's not doing nothing. It's here to stay.
It's fine. It's only minus 40 in Edmonton, Sean.
I know. Now, the thing is, Ryan, I actually wanted to get a Diet Coke for myself as well, but I've got nowhere to put it. Like, I don't have enough cup holders here. I got 2 cup holders in this car. Mm-hmm. This is new. This is a different car than the last time that we were doing the show. So lots has changed. I'm no longer in a truck with all the car seats in the back for the kiddos and everything. So it's totally, completely different, Ryan.
That's too bad, Sean. I mean, not only that, but we got a new setup here. So you're going to have to, finagle some stuff so you can actually get yourself your own drink. Or God forbid, when Happy Meals come back with Pokemon cards again.
Oh, yes. I think we just missed them. There's so much great I didn't even ask about Happy Meals. So I got to get back to this, man.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm also down here.
Yeah. Well, while you pay for your drinks,
please,
Sean, I will then continue to talk about the games I'm playing. So River City Girls 2, really enjoying it.
Thank you.
I loved the game a lot. It's not too long, it's not too short, but it's basically like a beat 'em up RPG, which is totally like up my alley because I love beat 'em up games and I love RPGs, and I really love the first River City Girls a lot, and I really love this one too. So, but I talked about that a lot a couple weeks ago, so I won't go too into it. And not only that, there might be a review for it coming out soon too. So look out for that on the channel soonish. But then I also played another little game that I was actually very surprised when they actually announced this was coming to Xbox. So it is on Xbox, although I didn't play on Xbox because I actually played this original game on the PSP. And a lot of times with third-party games, if I've played it, like a remaster like this, if it was originally on one console before and I played it there, I will usually pick it up on the same kind of brand console. So I played this on PlayStation 5. But Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII is here. Getting to play Zack's story again. Like, I loved the PSP game where, again, it is a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, all about Zack, who's like one of the soldier members, which is the same organization that Cloud belonged to. And it gives you just so much backstory into all the events that then led to the downfall of Sephiroth and kind of like some of the big events that happened in Final Fantasy VII. And I mean, this game is incredible. Like, I love I really liked it on PSP, but the improvements that they made with the PS5 and Series X version of the game are just incredible. It runs at 4K, 60 frames per second, with no dips or anything like that. The combat, they smoothed out the combat a lot, where, of course, before on the PSP, it was a third-person, action RPG. But of course, on the PSP, you didn't have dual analog sticks, so you couldn't use the camera. So just being able to use the camera now just makes a huge difference. But even they made tweaks to the combat to make it feel closer to like the Final Fantasy VII remake combat. So it just feels just so much more fun to play. And there's also 200 missions you can do in the game that are like basically like little instanced, pocket-sized like scenarios that you can go do that sometimes usually they'll be like, take out this specific enemy in this very small environment. So just running those over and over again is like super addictive and fun. Because again, it was originally designed as a portable game, 15 years ago at this point. So it's just, of course it's designed around like pick up and play like that. But the campaign was incredible as well. I just finished it last night. Even just playing it as a Final Fantasy VII fan, playing the last 3 chapters was worth it alone. Getting to play through like the Nibelheim sequence that, of course, Cloud talks about in the very beginning of Final Fantasy VII, kind of when he's talking about his past, to then seeing like the infamous moment where Sephiroth turns bad, and oh my god, it is so good. So yeah, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is a fantastic game. If y'all have played Final Fantasy VII, but you never played this on PSP, I highly encourage you to pick it up because I think it's a really solid game, even on Series X. And I think it's going to be a great place to play the game. The only downside to this, though, I will point out, is that if you haven't played the original Final Fantasy VII, this definitely spoils one of the biggest plot twists that happens in this game.
The original Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, in the original Final Fantasy VII. So
is that different? I have a question about the story and kind of like, this is a remaster, so it's no different from the original Crisis Core. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they didn't change anything like the story is concerned, but I think they re-released it now because certain characters from Crisis Core are going to be in Remake Part 2 coming out later next year.
Interesting. So that was going to be my question, is does that ruin anything as far as like the changes that were made? I haven't even played it, but I understand there's changes in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, do you think everything's going to be okay, or does this live kind of off on its own? It kind of looks like the remake, so
it kind of, is everything okay? As the game itself, it kind of lives on its own thing, on its own merits, and it kind of exists on its own thing. And I think even someone that wasn't at all interested in Final Fantasy VII who played this game would honestly still probably really enjoy it if you like action RPGs. But at the same time, you'll get more out of it, obviously, if you have played Final Fantasy VII before. And likewise, if you're someone who never played the original but played Remake, I would maybe wait until you play Remake Part 2 before playing this one. Because I think it will spoil some stuff that will probably come to as a shock to you when you play Remake Part 2 later the next year. So that's how I would approach it anyways. But otherwise, again, if you played the original game but never played Crisis Core, it's a no-brainer. It's so good. It's really, really good. Plus, it's not even a full-price game, too. I think it's $40 or $50 in the States. And then, of course, it's $60 here in Canada.
Then it's $120 a year.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely check a look.
Price we pay for true freedom, Ryan Turford.
Absolutely. But anyway, Sean, we got to slam the brakes on this conversation.
No, tap the brakes, Ryan. It's icy out here. We can't slam the brakes.
We'll tap on the brakes ever so slightly. It is time for some
gear down
breaking news. Because I want to get into some of these news stories. Now, mind you, not a huge news week this week, but there is some stuff that I want us to talk about. Number one, we got to talk about this one because this one really surprised me. High on Life is the biggest Game Pass release of 2022, and it is the biggest third-party launch on Game Pass ever in Game Pass's history.
That second piece is big. The first piece is like, okay, like what was the competition? The second part is a big deal.
Well, there's more to it, Sean. There's one more piece of information that makes it even bigger.
There's more.
It's also the biggest single-player Game Pass launch ever, including Microsoft first-party games.
What?
Yeah. Like, so it's big. It was bigger than Halo Infinite's campaign.
Wow.
Bigger than Gears 5. Bigger than all those games at launch.
Gears 5 was like the very early on in the Game Pass lifespan, but like people started to understand and people started to jump on the Xbox ecosystem around Halo Infinite, I would say. But like this is a year after that, and bigger than Forza.
Yep.
I feel like Forza was making a bigger splash as far as like the number. Like that was a surprise when we started to see the 5, 10, 15 million people playing that game, which was nuts. That is awesome. I need to tell you, Ryan, I didn't put it in the playlist because I don't think it really counts, but I had about 8 minutes before we jumped on the call. And I might have seen that this was part of the thumbnail. I wanted to speak to it, at least for a little bit. Mm-hmm. I installed it on my PC and I played what is basically the first, it's like 5 minutes.
Right.
And I was already laughing my ass off. I cannot wait to check this out. And it is because of like it's that notion of like a crowd draws a crowd. Like a lot of people are playing this. There's a lot of attention being given to it. I'm like, maybe I'll check this out. Mm-hmm. I don't have another 100 other games going on, but I will give this a try. But dude, I was laughing already. The little kind of like fake game that you're playing that kind of like psychs you out a little bit at the start. Mm-hmm. I was laughing, dude. So I can't wait to check it out. I'm glad to see that it's doing well over on Game Pass, and this is a big deal, man.
Yeah, like I think like this is the type of game that I think a lot of people, or I think it wouldn't be nearly as successful as it was if it wasn't for Game Pass. Because really word of mouth is really spreading about this game, where people are really talking about this game a lot. It's shot up to the top of the charts over on Twitch and on YouTube. If you're watching content, a lot of streamers are playing this game, getting the word out about this game, and a lot of people I think are giving it a chance. Not only that too, but it's at the top of the Steam charts too. So like a lot of people are buying this
actually buying it. I didn't think people buy Game Pass games, Ryan. I thought that people, when it was on Game Pass, you just didn't buy it. Those games didn't sell any copies, and it's going to destroy the industry.
I guess they proved us wrong with that. But
wow. Also, I heard it reviewed really bad, so I guess people aren't supposed to like it.
It got like a 55 on OpenCritic, so it's a good thing we didn't pick it.
Is that what it's sitting at?
Yeah.
55?
Because if you look at the reviews, it's actually it's a similar situation to what happened with Valkyrie Elysium earlier this year, where there are people that are rating High on Life like 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 on reviews, but there's also a ton of reviews that are like, we're giving this a 2 or a 3 because so much of the game's enjoyment, I think, and again, I haven't played it, but this is just what I've heard about it, so just correct me if I'm wrong. So much of the enjoyment of this game sounds like it hinges on the humor, that if you're not into Justin Roiland's like Rick and Morty style humor, like you're not going to be into this game at all. Like because the gameplay itself is, from what I've heard, is very meh. Although, from what I've also heard about the gameplay, it sounds like it's a Metroid game mixed with Mega Man, which is like right up Ryan Turford's alley, despite the fact that I do not like Rick and Morty at all, or do not like Justin Roiland's style of humor. That's just not. You for
don't?
Me. I'm just not into it. It's just not for me.
Oh man, I'd love to hear what you think about this, because that first, like I said, maybe 5-10 minutes of it is that like basically landing on a joke and hitting it down your throat, like, I don't know, 100 times. Like, I don't know if you know the dude's name, and he's like, I'm your divorce lawyer, and here we are, and you're fighting all the ex-boyfriends, all your ex-wife's boyfriends, and there's a hive mind, and by the way, you're my favorite client because I'm your divorce lawyer. And he just keeps doing it over and over, and as soon as I realize that's what he's doing, I am giggling, dude. But also very heavy on the drug use, I should say that. If there's like, people who are maybe underage, or it's a mature in the weirdest sense. It's not very mature at all. But Ryan, like, there's somebody who shoves cocaine in your face within the first 10 minutes, dude.
Jesus,
it's a wild game, man.
Jesus, that's...
Yeah, so be careful out there, everybody.
Yeah, be careful out there of the drug use in High on Life. I mean, it is called High on Life, so I mean...
It's called High on Life. That's why I'm like, expect? Is this... Yeah. But I will say, and this might just be another one of those, like, I was being closed-minded to it, or... it slipped a little bit there. Whew, that was close.
Jesus, Sean, be careful out there. Be careful.
It is icy.
Drive careful.
I looked at this game and I was like, I think I've said it a number of times on this show, like, yeah, it's a Game Pass game, but okay, like, that's not going to move the needle. It's not a Call of Duty. It's not some of these other big games. But A, I was wrong about that being a big deal for Game Pass. And B, I was wrong about it being possibly enjoyable. I cannot wait. I'm going to drive right home right now, Ryan, to play some more. Actually, I'm going to ignore my kids for another half an hour if I can.
Jesus,
play a little.
Those poor kids. Those poor kids. They just want to play Mario Rabbids with you, and you're just like, no, I'm playing High on Life. But
that's very true.
Before we move on, though, we actually got a question about this. This comes to us from Rod, aka Anti-Macro, your favorite person in the whole world, Sean.
What's up, Rod?
He asked the question: do you think that the wild success on High on Life may impact making Game Pass a more appealing option for a new IP? And I think absolutely this is like the perfect test case for why new IPs should target Game Pass, or maybe even to target PlayStation Plus if you want to talk about that side of the fence, if they're not coming to Xbox. Because like this game, as I kind of mentioned off the top, I don't think it would be as big as it was if it wasn't for Game Pass. I think that it just helped getting more eyes on the game from Game Pass. And then of course, the streamers picking it up also have had a heavy influence on it as well. But I definitely think like this goes to show, if you've got a new IP, like, you should probably consider the idea of doing like the Game Pass option day one for this, even if it's
I wouldn't have bought it. There's no way, speaking from personal experience, like, I like Rick and Morty, but I don't love Rick and Morty. Like, I think that's giving a lot of credence to why it's selling so well, but I think it's a magical mix. And Ryan, I have a question for you. When did the narrative flip? I thought this was always a good thing. Suddenly became like not a great thing for new IP to try things out on Game Pass. Like, this goes back to the PS Plus days, the tried and true model of Rocket League, or even Fall Guys as well. Like, this is not a new concept. I just feel like lately the narrative on Game Pass has been so negative that you've forgotten that this is a thing. This is a thing. It always has been.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see it back in action, is basically what I have to say about that, Ryan.
Absolutely. Again, I've always said that, especially multiplayer new IPs, like, those are definitely the games that really that really benefit from Game Pass, especially if they have microtransactions, because then you're less worried about the upfront cost of the game anyways. So yeah, I think this is like a slam dunk for other developers. And hopefully this is a sign that maybe we see more of this type of thing in the future from third parties. But anyways, moving on, we got to talk about, all the wrap-ups are happening right now, Sean, out there. And of course, Xbox, we've been waiting for the Xbox wrap-up to happen, and they announced they're not doing one. So luckily, our friends over at True Achievements, so trueachievements.com, actually stepped in to do Xbox wrap-ups for everybody. So you can actually, first of all, if you haven't done this already, if you go to trueachievements.com, you sign in with your Microsoft account, and then it pulls your information from the server and creates a nice little graphic for you saying, how many games you played this year, how many achievements you got, how many hours you spent playing games on Xbox, and then of course your most played game and how long you played it and how much, you played it for. So Sean, I know you can't see this in the car, but I've actually pulled up our stats and I have them in front of me, so I kind of want to talk about
both of ours.
Yeah, both of ours. So we'll go.
Mine's
through
wrong.
them.
I have an issue with this, and I have an issue with Xbox not doing this. That's a miss. We shouldn't be having to go to True Achievements for this sort of thing. But that's my brief complaint because I'm not pleased with what my report showed. But I might be the only one, and I might be completely off base here. But
well, I was gonna say when we get to my report, Sean, it's like of course that's my most played game. So let's do yours first because we're on the topic of yours real quick.
Sure.
So
yeah.
I'll read that
Since
out.
I brought it up.
I'll read it out for you, of course. So first off, you got 355 achievements this year. Your total gamer score that you've earned this year, 6,695 gamer score. That's okay. That's pretty good. You played.
No way.
You played
this is wrong.
40 games on Xbox this year. 40 in total. And then you played 494 hours of games on Xbox, according to the stats here. And your most played game of the year, apparently, Fall Guys at 64 hours and you completed 65% of the game. That all sounds completely off to you, Sean? Is just you played more or played less? What do you think?
Fall Guys, there's no way that was my number one game. There's no way that I played it for that many hours. There's no way that I played fewer hours of Forza Horizon 5. That definitely should have been my number one game. So, I don't know once that breaks down, then it's I don't know what else to trust. Is it 40 games? Was it 4? Was it 400? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no way. Number one, that I played fewer than 60 some odd hours of Horizon. I've got 10 days into that game.
Yeah.
So, and most of it being this year, actually. I think I might have had maybe 30 hours last year into it, and then basically a week worth of game time into Forza Horizon 5.
Even also, I gotta butt in here as well and mention Halo Infinite as well is probably higher than something like Fall Guys too. Think about how much we play, how much time we sunk in just to Halo Saturdays alone, 3 hours a week, almost every single week for 8 months.
Easy.
All that adds up to being a little bit more. So
little sus, I would say, Ryan.
Little sus. But then when I read my stats, Sean, it might sound like at least mine are probably working at least. So it might. I don't know what happened with yours, but as I read mine, it makes more sense. So first off, I earned 668 achievements this year. I kind of wish I earned two less achievements this year.
Nice.
So I could have had 666 achievements. I earned
50. You should have one more.
Oh, dang it, Sean. I kind of wish I got
Come on, man.
But then I earned 15,335 gamer score this year, which is low for me too. I think that's a little bit low for me. I played 83 games on Xbox this year. So a lot of games. And I played Xbox for 516 hours this year. But you also have to keep in mind, believe it or not, apparently I played more on PlayStation this year because I'm such an Xbox Sean. So on PlayStation, I played 800 hours on PlayStation. So, but 450 of those hours was Final Fantasy 14. So just throwing it.
Well, that one's probably accurate. That actually comes from PlayStation. It's such a shock to me that Xbox didn't do one. They've been so community focused.
Yeah.
But that seems like such a huge miss from a community standpoint. But again, I feel like a lot of people were sharing these pictures in the Discord, and nobody else seemed to have an issue with what it was showing.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if you're getting to this in a second, but Phil Spencer had 200 some odd hours into Vampire Survivors because he's such a beast. Oh my gosh, I love that guy.
The best part is if you go to Phil Spencer's Twitter profile and you compare the stats, that's actually accurate. It says he's actually played the game for that long, even on Xbox. Because I fact checked him, is that actually true? And it's no, it's actually true. He played it for that long.
Well, You can see the achievements. Like that's the big thing that you can double check. Like it's tough to show times, but the profile, the picture that he showed has like 97% on the achievements, which you can go verify. So unless he's got somebody ghost playing for him, which I just don't understand how you can be like a CEO and put 200 hours into any game.
Yeah.
Like I'm definitely not a CEO, and I ain't doing that. You know what I mean?
That's true. But last thing, also I didn't mention as well, my most played game, Sean, which may surprise you. It's The Sims 4 at 96 hours on Xbox, which
yes,
of course it is. Of course it is. Who thought it would be any game that's different than The Sims 4? Of course it's The Sims 4.
It would have been Final Fantasy if you had it on that system. So
it actually if Final Fantasy 14 existed on Xbox, it 100% would have been that game. But anyways, moving on.
Anyways,
we got to talk about a game that got announced for Xbox this week, which I'm actually kind of surprised they did this announcement, this week rather than last week. Sifu is coming to Xbox. It's coming to Xbox in March of 2023. I guess the exclusivity was only a year with PlayStation. They didn't give an exact date yet. They just said March 2023. We're getting Sifu on Xbox. They also didn't mention Game Pass. So as far as I know of, it's not going to be a Game Pass game day one or anything like that. So we'll have to actually buy Sifu on Xbox. But this is a game that I missed on PlayStation because it came out in February when a bajillion other games were out, like Kirby and Elden Ring and Horizon. So of course I missed. Sifu. So I kind of want to play this when it comes to Xbox. But Sean, are you going to check out Sifu at all on Xbox? Are you excited about this?
No, honestly, if it's not on Game Pass, probably not. Dude, I'm carrying over a ridiculous backlog from 2022 into 2023, and 2023 already looks like a bonkers year. I'm gonna have to be pretty choosy about which games I'm playing. So if it's not on Game Pass, then I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think it reviewed quite well. It looks really cool. It's not a shot against the game, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. I'm excited to check it out because I think the premise of the game seems really interesting, and I do like martial arts games like that, so I kind of want to check it out, but we'll see. We'll check a look when it comes to Xbox.
Check a look
in March 2023. I'm also just making the chat so bad right now by continually using the term "check a look," which is great. But as Sean,
they don't like it.
They're just like, the kids don't say that anymore, Sean. So, but anyways, to kind of round out our conversation, Sean, because that's all the news, and we actually didn't get any other questions this week because it's my bad. I forgot to put the questions post until an hour before we started.
It's our last show of the year. No,
it is our last show of the year, Sean. So what I wanted to bring up before you kind of pull into the driveway and we call it quits for the year. I want to ask you about the year of Xbox overall. Just looking back at 2022 and Xbox, just to keep it short, what do you think about Xbox this year? Good, bad? Was this year a good year for Xbox? Was it bad? What do you think?
Well, we kind of talked about it with Dave last week a little bit, and Dave was super negative about it. But also, that's kind of just, that was the energy Dave typically brought to the show. I think he's just not super happy. But I feel like I was totally loaded this year. I think one of the things for me personally, it was more just like, did I make great decisions all year as far as when I was going to jump into a game? And there was a few misses, I think. Like the fact that I had to cram in a whole bunch of games near the end, I think spoke to more about me more than anything. But I will just say about my experience, because I don't know that I can really say anything that would turn anybody who thought that Xbox had a soft year. Like they're just going to think that. All I'm going to say is I thought it was totally fine. I couldn't keep up with the games that were coming out, so that's good.
Yeah.
I think we often lose sight of that as far as like most of us aren't Kevin Ainsworth. Most of us have a job and don't have to, we can't play every single game that comes out.
Yeah.
So being choosy, like I felt good about this year, but I also expect 2023 to be spectacular. And so I kind of waver back and forth. As a podcaster on an Xbox show, you almost think like, well, they better do something, and they really disappointed me and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I had a great time with my Xbox this year, and I think a lot of people did too. So I thought it was okay. We had a great time with E3, coming back and coming out of the pandemic here. So most of the great games that people talk about are third party. They all playable on Xbox. So there you go. I had fun.
Nice. That again, I think that's a good outlook on it. And actually, this year kind of reminded me of 2014, like during the first year of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, because we had like a similar thing where we had a lot of like good for third-party games, but we just didn't get like people were questioning whether or not Sony was going to release more, PS4 exclusives, because that year they had the Order 1886 and that was it. And that was kind of the year that Xbox kind of reminded me of having this year, where it's like the calm before the storm, because we do know we have Forza next year, we do have Redfall next year, we assume we have Starfield next year. Like I feel like just those 3 games alone is really going to redeem things, let alone any other surprises that Xbox might have for us next year. So even though I think the first party output was low, I do definitely agree with you about third parties. There was always something new to play on Xbox this year. And I didn't run short of, any games, like run short of games to play this year, I think, on Xbox. And not only that, but like even from someone like me who plays a lot of Japanese games, plays a lot of JRPGs, like this year was great for Japanese games on Xbox. Like AI, the Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative. We also had Star Ocean, The Divine Force, Crisis Core. Like we had a lot of good Japanese games come to Xbox this year as well. So I think like that's a good achievement right there. So I almost don't think that they needed first party, like a huge first party output this year. And the first party games that we got were great too. Like the Forza expansion, we got Pentiment, of course the Top Gun DLC for Flight Simulator.
How could we forget?
How could we forget that? Like all the stuff. So I think this year was ultimately a good year for Xbox. Even if first party wasn't great, there was always something to play on Xbox this year. So I do think overall it was a pretty good year for video gaming on Xbox. And
more important than any of that, Ryan, more important than any of that is we returned to the car. Okay, we've been wanting to do this for a very long time. It's nice, it's cozy, it's comfortable, it's easy to do a show in my office, in my space there. But we're back. I've got myself a nice hot coffee here. It's staying mostly warm because I've got the heater really up high here. And I'm glad that as far as like carpool gaming and the Xbox Drive, we continue to march along. We met in person once again, got to hang out. We did the E3 thing back in May or June or whatever it was. We did Extra Life. We raised like $10,000, or over 9,000, I should say.
Yep.
And we had a great year of just spending time with the community. Like I feel like that's way more important than like what exclusives came out and whatever else. Like I just felt like carpool gaming overall had a great year, nothing to do with numbers or anything. I just feel like the community really started to understand like what we're after, and we understood what the community wanted, and I just felt like a nice gelling this year. So I'm closing out the year feeling pretty good. We still have some other new stuff that we still have to record. We were going to record, Ryan, the final console war room Patreon exclusive of the year with Mr. Badbit. That's waiting until next week because the 2 games that you talked about, River City Girls 2 and their Final Fantasy Crisis Core, just buried the trophy room, guys. Like they are done. So we get to talk all about that next week, my friend.
I know we had a bit of a scare, Sean, because someone gave River City Girls 2 a 6 out of 10. And it almost sunk us again, like below the trophy room. We were actually above them by like 0.75 points when that happened. But then another good review came in for it. So we're actually again like
it's that close. Holy cow, man. Yeah. Like 1 point here and there because it's a swing. But anyways, people have to listen to the console war room for more details on that.
Which of course, by the way, so since it's December, Sean, when that'll actually come out, it'll be free for everyone since it'll still be December.
That's right.
So
that's right.
It won't be Patreon exclusive. But anyways, we should probably wrap things up because I know you're probably getting close to home. So Sean, plugs go.
You can find me on Twitter at Sean Capri, or as they say on the Nintendo Drive, www.twitter.com/Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Buy our merch. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Listen to all the other. Oh, I will say, Ryan, the final episode of 2022 for We the GamerCast launched this week, and it's getting stellar reviews. People are really enjoying it. So please check out the latest episode. It's with Drellesh, a wonderful member of the carpool community. And that's all I've got to say about that. Now I can have a little sip about my coffee here, Ryan.
Nice. I still need to check that out because it's a long conversation. I need to book like a solid 3 hours to listen to that. Maybe I'll listen to that on the train today because I'm heading home to visit my folks today on the train. So maybe that's what I listened to on the way home today.
Very nice.
But as for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. You can find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming, on YouTube at youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, on podcast services around the globe. For Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 271 of the Xbox Drive. Only 29 episodes before episode 300, Sean. and we're out.
Oh my gosh. I just looked over my computer, and maybe some of the issues women have been having is because the laptop apparently is out of batteries, and I need to take care of that. So I'll see you guys next year. Bye.